Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it.
Technology, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovesi, and thank you for tuning in to us today. And we're going live every single Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And we want you to bookmark your calendar because you don't want to miss a single episode of the Master Connector Show. We are bringing you amazing, amazing guests, people from all accomplishments in life. We've got authors, we've got speakers, we've got coaches. I mean, we've got people who are CEOs of businesses. We're bringing them here so you can learn from them through their stories, their experiences, their skill sets, in order to close the gaps in your knowledge so you can succeed faster. And of course, it's all about connecting. So we want you to connect with people here on the Master Connector Show. So get in those comments, connect with one another, and make sure that you are reaching out because that's what it's all about. And listen, we have great friends in the show, and one of those friends is Russ Hedge. Listen, Russ Hedge, with over 30 years of sales and marketing success in multiple industries, Russ Hedge can help you be successful in your business by helping you truly connect. Transform your business, connect to new customers, russhedge.com. Reach out to our good friend Russ. Let him help you out. And so listen, if you are not able to be here every single week, we hope that you are. But if you can't, go to masterconnector.show and see the people that are coming up. We've got a list of the roster of guests that we're going to have on the show in the future. We're booked out for many, many months, but you could see the next 6, 8, 10 episodes there. And if there's somebody there you see that you really need to learn from, bookmark it in your calendar. Don't miss an episode. But if you do, don't worry, we got you covered. You can catch the replay of our episodes on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you don't miss any information. We want you to succeed. And look, success is a journey. We know that for sure. And Steve Spiro and I, we go way back about 27 years or so. Two former shy guys, two introverts who overcame shyness. And we have learned how to develop relationships and truly connect with people, not just connect digitally, not just put their name in my contact list, but connect with them as people. So listen, we can all be connectors. We can all be master connectors, but there's only one master connector, and that's Mr. Steve Spiro. Let's bring him on. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Robbie G. Hey, man, I appreciate that. Yeah, one of the reasons why I wanted to be called the Master Connector, not the Master Networker, because I believe it's all about connection. It's all about human connection. So I appreciate that. And if there's a second Master Connector for sure, official one, you are the one as well, my friend. I appreciate you big time. So what's going on, everyone? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. And I'm excited to be here. Man, you are about to be blown away. You want to talk about excitement? We got our guest, Larry, he's going to blow your doors. He's going to rock your world. So, but here's a question, right? What if the secret to having your best year ever isn't about dreaming bigger, but about acting bolder? Think about that a little bit, right? It's, to me, you could dream. I put a post out today about faith. It's important to have faith. And we know there's a scripture out there, faith without works is dead. And, so faith, yes. And having a big dream and, knowing what you want, all that's important, but it don't mean squat unless you're actually taking action. And we're going to talk about taking massive action. And some of those things are in your daily habits, your routine. I heard this recently. I was at a conference this weekend and I heard it. They said this. It said, it's not about, your success is not about, how big of a dreamer you are or whatnot. It's about your discipline. It's about daily discipline. It's about doing those things, right? The dream is or the faith will be that spark to kind of get you going, but you got to have discipline and create those habits and stick to those habits, because we know it's the law of sowing and reaping, right? You don't just reap And you don't just reap. You got to sow first, and you got to sow. And I believe if you want a consistent harvest, right? If there's sowing time or planting time, or there's that time. There's progression time, and then there's harvest time, seed time, progression time, harvest time, and that's great. So there's a time frame between when you plant to when it comes up. And think about that, right? Now, if there's that kind of progression, if there's that time factor, well, here's the question: do you want to be planting once and then not plant for a while? In the farming world, that's necessary because you got the ground, and all you can do is the ground. But if you're sowing good seed, sowing good work ethic, sowing integral business activity, or whatever you're doing, right? You're sowing it. I believe, and I learned to sow it every day, sow it regularly, so that, if it takes 6 months for it to reap, for it to kind of come up, the harvest to come. If I'm sowing every day, then every 6 months from now, from today, which is, you get the idea, you're going to start to have continual harvest, right? And so it's so important to take action. One of my favorite books is The Magic of Thinking Big. Brian, Rob and I have a mutual friend who unfortunately went on to be with the Lord, named Brian, and he used to call the book The Magic of Thinking Huge, right? But in that book, it talks about, the power of now. Do it now. Get off your rump. Like, don't just think, oh, I'm excited, but do it now. Like, and I'm a big believer in that, right? If you think about it, do it now. Obviously, you got to focus, and I'm not saying multitask and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, we're going to have a blast today. So if you're ready to have my man, Rob G, introduce our incredible guest today, type in the comments, let's go. And Robbie G will pass it to you, sir.
All right, let's go. Larry Long Jr. is a global keynote speaker and MC and the Chief Energy Officer, that's CEO of LLJR Enterprises. He's a 4-time Salesforce top sales influencer, host of the midday motivational minute, and author of the best-selling book, Jolt, Get Zapped into Intentionality. Larry's mission is to help people rediscover their greatness, lead with authenticity, and bring contagious energy everywhere they go. Please welcome to the show, Larry Long Jr. What's up, Larry?
Uh-oh.
You know that I've got the microphone. What is going on? Great to see you, Steve. Great to see you, Rob. Happy to be here with the Master Connectors.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you here, and excited to have my sister Robbie G, who knows Rob. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, and I think she knew your brother Rob back in the day as well. But we're so excited, Rob, and to have Larry on with us. I know Larry is I guess we call him alum of the Master Connector show. Been on our show before, and there he goes. And I love his props, his energy. It's awesome. So we're excited to have you on here, Larry. But let's dig into it. Let's get started here. And Yolanda Chin is on with us. She says, let's go. My sister Eileen says, let's go. So let's go. All right. Now, in the opening, we were talking about consistency. We're talking about work habits. We're talking about daily rituals and routines. So I want to talk about that. So community, type in hashtag consistency. So Larry, here's the question for you, and riff on this as much as you want. What daily habits or rituals do you believe are essential for maintaining consistent action towards big goals?
Big goals. Best year ever. Now you're talking my language. So when I think about it, number one is vision. I can see clearly now. Where am I trying to go? Why am I trying to go there? Yep. You said what actions? I've got to make sure that my vision is crystal clear, and hopefully I have it displayed somewhere where I can see it each and every day. Now, I've got a positive attitude, but I've also got an attitude of gratitude. What are you grateful for? Because essentially you talked about it. You reap what you sow. If you're looking for something negative, this world has plenty that's negative. You're going to find it. So I encourage you to find the great things that are out there that you're grateful for. Let's get physical. Larry, what are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Well, who's Willis and what is he talking about? Movement. I like to move it. Whatever your physical activity is, I encourage you to have some sort of physical activity, because when you get in motion, you now stir up emotion and you make some big time moves. It's fitting that we're on the Master Connector. Each and every day, who are you connecting with? And not just connecting with, who are you serving? I live my life by this quote every morning. It's from Martin Luther King Jr. He says, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing to serve others? Not what are you thinking, not what are you noodling on, not what are you writing, what are you doing to serve others? So that's really where I would start.
I love it.
You know what I love about the consistency thing, and there's a part of that we dig a little deeper on, Larry. What you're talking about is as you thread through all those little habits, right? The little habits that make the big difference. It's that when you talk about, optimism, people always go, "Oh, you got to be positive," and they go, "Oh, Mr. Rose-colored glasses, the glass is half full," and they think that kind of dumb stuff doesn't matter. What they don't understand is optimism is the ability to see the positive side of everything in front of you. You keep moving forward. These habits, the consistency of not going on TikTok and looking at nasty politics all the time, but maybe go on TikTok and learn from a business person who's successful, not waking up late and then blaming that on everything you didn't do that day, but waking up a little early. So the positive little consistencies, right? Because you can do the negative consistencies and lose too, right?
Rob, the little things are really the big things. And I apologize. I'm here in the airport, so you can hear that voice, but I'm going to drown that voice out because I love what you shared. Learn something new every day. If you go through a day and you haven't learned anything new, I hate to say it, but I'm going to keep it real. You've wasted a day. You should be trying to get at least 1% better each and every day with intentionality, not just falling into it, but saying, and you talked about it, waking up early. How about planning your day the night before? How about thinking ahead, and let's start playing chess instead of just playing checkers and leaving our big goals and our future up to luck. I don't, what the luck? No, I'm going to work my way into my luck.
Love that. That's great. Listen, you dropped so many nuggets, it was like a nugget fest in that first one. Yeah, like some mic drops going on there for sure. No doubt about it. I want to back up a little bit because you said start with a vision. And, I know a lot of what I was talking about was on the action side of things. But yes, you have to have a vision. I love the analogy, right? The GPS, and you want to put, you don't just start driving and hope you get someplace you want to go. I mean, you got to start with where you want to go. And then kind of back out, reverse engineer how to get there, right? But yeah, but to me, again, I think it's important to keep these goals and these actions, because ultimately, I believe over time it can yield momentum, right? And that's when the big mo kicks in, right? And so I want to talk about that. So the community, type in hashtag momentum, or you could type in hashtag mo if you want. But anyway, so Larry, let's get into it. So when progress feels slow or obstacles arise, how do you reignite momentum and keep moving forward, like Rob talks about a lot?
I love it. And you talked about that big mo. And I'm a sports guy. I played baseball. I don't know if y'all have been watching the World Series, but momentum is real, either positive momentum or negative momentum. So you talked about when things slow down. And that's oftentimes, at least for me, that's when I start getting in my head. What I learned I started off my baseball career 1 for 26, which I'm not a math major, but I think that's .042. That's below the Mendoza line. That'll get you playing not left field, but left out. Hey, coach, can I get in? Nah, go to the end of the bench. And my father told me, he said, Larry, you got to get your mind right. It's kind of like what Henry Ford says, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. He said, start with your mindset and start believing in yourself, even if you need to manufacture it. It's not toxic positivity, but it's boosting yourself up. It's having a brag book because you've had success before. Tough people, that's you. I'm looking at all of you, listeners and viewers, are greater than tough times. You're standing right now. You've proven it time and time again. So I encourage you, when the going gets tough, get back to your successes. Are you celebrating even your small successes, and are you enjoying and learning through the process? Oftentimes we measure failure and success on the end result. We might lose, but I'm not losing if I'm learning. And if I'm learning and making adjustments and sharing that, come on now. That's a win in my book all day, every day.
Love it. Love it, Larry. That's great. Yeah, listen, I love that, you're either winning or you're learning. right? Instead of losing, right? Because everything is a learning piece, right? And the other part that I really want to talk about, big part of our show, big part of what I speak on as a speaker, the book that I wrote is on grit. And what I've learned over time, if you just hang in there and just keep pumping the pump, right? I heard this audio a long time ago, back in the old days, and I don't know if it is. I knew you were in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know if there's still have these old-fashioned water pumps like they had in the desert, or like the old the West, right? But basically the way it works is, right, you start to, and you got, by the way, you got to put a little water in first, because you have to prime the pump with a little water, and then you got to keep pumping and pumping and pumping, and then eventually if there's enough pressure, the water comes out. But a lot of people, they pump, the water is just man, there's no water in there. You just got to keep pumping the pump. And my belief is, like you said, Larry, if you keep doing it, if you keep doing the work and you stay steady and don't quit, you are going to see success. And maybe it's not exactly the success you want, but you're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to become, right? It's all about overcoming to become, as my friend Hugh would say, and Rob knows as well. So I love this, Larry, and I don't know if you have anything to share, but I want to get into the next topic. Go ahead. Why don't you?
I know that your listeners are leaders, and leaders are readers. There's a book called 3 Feet from Gold that's fantastic. It's exactly what you said, Steve. So many people are this close from success and they give up. So if there's someone out there thinking about giving up, don't keep
quit.
Going, persevere. You're this close to success, and you're learning along the way.
Another great book is Acres of Diamonds, right? I mean, the whole idea of that book, I think it was Russell Conway, I believe it is, or Conwell, but he writes about it, the story that this guy, he sells everything to find his diamonds. He goes traveling and he becomes completely broke. He has to come back and sell his beautiful house. And I don't know if you know the story here, Larry, but he eventually sells the house. And the new owners are looking out the window of this house. There's a nice stream right there on the front of the property. And they notice something glistening. And they go to the stream, and guess what's in that stream? Diamonds were in there all along. And, he just needed to, there was acres of diamonds there all along. And he was trying to find his fortune. So another great book. It's right there. You just got to keep going, right? So let's keep this going, right? I want to talk a little bit about intention, right? And, I've learned to live my life on purpose, with intention, intentionally, right? Everything I do has intention. So here's the question. In community, type in hashtag intention. By the way, thank you for the participation, Yolanda. Yolanda Chin's amazing. You want to connect with Yolanda, no doubt about it. But let's ask the question, right? So how do you differentiate between being busy and being intentional with your actions, Larry?
I love it. And my book, Joel, talks about get zapped into intentionality, rediscover, and believe in your inner greatness. And intentionality, it's having a vision, it's having a purpose, it's having a meaning. There's actually been studies done, and luckily, Dr. Sarah Glova, one of my speaker colleagues, has done the research that shows big goals are attainable. They're easily, not easily, but they can be attained when there's purpose and there's meaning and there's intention behind it. So you want to go to the moon. Why? Ask the why. I'm not the Black Simon Sinek, but ask why. We want to start with why. That intention is powerful. And so many people live their life not on purpose, just by accident, just willy-nilly, floating through the wind, just blowing wherever. No, stop that. You're better than that. And if you really want to have your best year ever and live your best life, I encourage you to dream. No. Dream big. No. Dream bigger. Oftentimes we stifle all the great things that we were destined for. Starts with the mindset. Dream big.
I love this word intention, and everybody pick up Larry's book, Jolt, The Power of Intentionality. I have not read it yet, but I'm going to pick it up, because the whole thing is, when I never really used the word intentional, I was doing what everybody else was doing. And that was, I don't know, I'm just meeting people. I don't know, I'm just sending emails to people. I don't know, I'm just pitching people. And I ask, business people all the time, I say, well, why are you doing that? And they go, I don't know, because that's what you do. And I'm like, what is your intention here? So, Larry, I like that you touched on that. What are you looking to achieve? I think is the question. If you're going to take an action, don't do it because that's what you do in business, right? So why are you doing it? Because there's 1,000 ways to build a business. There's 1,000 ways to do anything. And any one of them will work for you. But if you're not doing something with intentionality that will bring you to the result you want, there's not a big chance you're going to get there, at least not in the time frame you want. So love that, Larry. Definitely audience pick up Larry's book. I'm excited to pick that one up myself.
Rob, I also have to add, commit. I used to work with a coach 5 years ago when I was building my professional speaker business. And she said, Larry, I've noticed that you make commitments that you're not committed to. You know you have a choice. So I'll give you an example. I would say that I would make 20 calls a day. I wasn't committed to making 20 calls a day. She said, why would you make that commitment when you're not really committed to it? An audiobook. I still haven't had an audiobook. My book came out in 2022. I'm not committed to it. But now hearing about your book, Rob, it might light that fire where I will be committed to recording my own audiobook.
Love that. Yeah. And by the way, if you do, Amazon has some really good narrators that you can kind of relatively inexpensive. If you now, Larry, you got this incredible voice and this personality, so it's probably going to be you, I'm sure, knowing you. But absolutely, well, good stuff. Well, hey, and, whether it's writing a book, whether it's taking action, whether it's whatever you're doing, it takes courage, right? It takes, and I heard it said, Rob probably heard this expression too when we were coming through the ranks, but it takes a dead fish to float with the current. It takes a strong one to float against it, but it takes courage to be that strong fish that goes against the current and doesn't always do what everyone is doing, right? Like you said, Rob. So let's talk about courage. So community, type in #courage. So what does taking massive action look like, Larry? And how do you overcome fear, false evidence appearing real, when the stakes are high?
Oh, I love it. And this is a battle I fight each and every day. It's FUD, not Elmer FUD, but fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I'm challenged with it each and every day. And I've got this voice. And my coach said, let's name it. So I named it Cletus. Come on, Cletus. You're going to walk over, but you're going to limp back. I got to knock Cletus off of my shoulder every day. And then I've got this empowering voice of my father, who I lost 9.5 years ago, who says, Lil Larry, even though I'm taller, I was taller than him. Lil Larry, you can't have my name with a spirit of weakness, of a spirit of being meek and weak. You're more than a conqueror. Act like it. So it's tough. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But exhibiting courage, it comes with, and I'm not Allen Iverson, but it comes with practice. We're talking about practice, not the game. So how are you practicing getting comfortable with being uncomfortable each and every day? I spoke to a young lady yesterday who said, she was actually giving me my heart ultrasound. She said, I gave my first presentation. I was so nervous. How'd it go? She said, I killed it. I said, I know you did. Now what's next? What's the next time that you can exhibit courage? So I encourage folks, if you're noodling, doodling, just do it. You're going to win or you're going to learn.
We talked about, and thank you, Steve, for bringing it up. Yeah, my first book is coming out soon. And the message, as we were talking about in the green room before we started, Larry, was I was in my 20s and 30s, and I was paralyzed with fear of talking to people. I mean, I couldn't do it. And Steve knows me from back then. That's why I always say we go back 27 years, because Steve could tell you stories, but he's too nice. So he won't tell you what I was really like. But that fear, I'm going to tell you, every single day going up against fear. And it's not just the one fear, right? It was my fear of talking to people, my fear of what if I fail, my fear of what if people don't like me. So all these fears, when you say you knock Cletus off the shoulder, everybody's got a method for doing that. I'm Italian, so I get a little bit more brash about it. And I'm just like, fear pops on my shoulder, I'm going to punch that sucker. Like, you get out of here. I don't have time for you. So you need to go. And so I think everybody needs to really understand that, number one, everybody has fear. So yours is no different. And number two, what Larry said, you knock one fear down, another one's going to come up, but you've got to go punch it in the face. You've got to go to it. I know a good friend of mine said one time, find out what you're afraid of and run towards it. You're going to find out it's probably just a piece of paper. Just clip right through it.
Yeah.
Chapter 1 of my book, what story are you telling yourself and believing? Sometimes a lot of times I tell myself a story that's not real. And I love what you said, Steve, false evidence appearing real. My coach said, Larry, our body is doing what it's supposed to do. Lions, tigers, bears, oh my. She said, why don't you just tell your body, thank you. I appreciate you protecting me, but I got this. Brush my shoulders off. I got it from here. Now, if there's danger, stranger danger, then I need you to help me out.
That's hysterical. And, it's funny because, Rob was talking about, meeting strangers, right? And I was challenged to meet 3 strangers every day. And in New York, that's ridiculously terrifying.
Very dangerous.
Yes. And I can tell you some stories, crazy, but yeah, it's amazing. But you know what it is? When you you get the reps in, right? We hear about, I think it was, Gladwell talks about 10,000 hours, right? Malcolm Gladwell, right? Getting those reps in. And I think the more the reps you get in, the better your confidence and the more courage you have and the more ability, to keep going. Yeah. So just believe and you will achieve for sure, But let's keep this rolling, right? So I want to talk about, alignment, right? Because I think, there's lots of things we could talk about, but I want to talk about alignment and how it relates to leadership and leading your own. And first of all, the first person you need to lead is yourself, right? So Judy, type in hashtag alignment, and we're going to close down probably here with this after we finish here. But so, Larry, how can leaders ensure that their consistent and massive actions still align with their long-term purpose and values?
I love it. And I'm a big believer in priorities.
Mm.
And in asking questions, what are your priorities? For me, I've got 7 buckets, and there's a lot more buckets, but when you think about the 7 F's and the 1 C, and you'll laugh at the 7th F, faith or spirituality, family, friends, fun, fitness, your health is your wealth, finances, philanthropy. I know that doesn't start with an F, but I spell phonetically, sometimes frenetically. And then career, how do you prioritize those? And do your actions align and match up with what you say? I was doing some coaching with a gentleman named Manan out of Australia. He said, Larry, fitness is my number 2 behind family and then sandwiched in between finances. He was taking care of his family in India, sending them checks. I said, let me see your schedule. I'd love to see your workout schedule. He looked at me like a deer in headlights. I said, Houston, we have a problem. If fitness is your number 2, but you don't have a consistent routine, there's a misalignment, which is okay, but shouldn't you adjust that from number 2? I said, let's pull out your calendar, let's schedule it, and then go ahead and invite me. I'll be your accountability partner. When you get done working out, send me a sweaty selfie. Now, Australia is ahead of time, so I think it was like 10:30 at night. I'm looking at LinkedIn. My wife is like, do you have to tell me something? I said, you see what happened was, baby, I'm his accountability partner. But I said, Manan, that's good. But how can we be great? How can we keep this momentum rolling to stay aligned with our priorities through our actions? And you're absolutely right, Steve. That number 1 priority is us. How are we making sure we take care of that relationship with self? We can't lead anyone else if we can't even lead ourselves.
Yeah, so many people. I appreciate that, Larry. So many people, and another mic drop there, by the way. But here's the thing: a lot of people talk about, there it is. A lot of people want to, help other people, and I'm all for it. But you can't help others if you can't flow from the cup if the cup is empty. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of you first, so you can help others, right? And it's not a selfish thing. It's just you're not effective if you're not, leading yourself and taking care of yourself first. So much talk about alignment, so much aligned with what you're saying there for sure. Larry, I appreciate you. So listen, this conversation could go on for another half hour, 2 hours if we want to, right? I know you're in an airport. I know we got to close things down, but love to have you share. I know you have something you want to bless our community with, talking about serving and leading. So if you could just share on that, and then of course, what's the best way for our community to reach you, please?
Steve and Rob, I'm blessed. Thank you for the opportunity to join your platform. And my offer for anyone listening, I'm going to give the first 3 people that send me an email, make sure you reference Master Connector Show. I'll give you 30 minutes of time, and we'll get you worked out. We'll deepen that relationship and help you make this your best year ever and make sure that you're living your best life. Best way to reach me, you'll probably hear me before you see me, is LinkedIn. They call me LinkedIn Larry. I cannot wait to connect with you.
That's awesome. We appreciate you big time, Larry. Thank you so much. And You really, really have blessed our community, and thank you again. As always, I knew you would bring the heat, bring the excitement, bring the love. There he is. So appreciate you. I'm happy to go in the green room, but thank you again, Larry. You're awesome. Appreciate you. All right. Wow. Larry is awesome. Okay. One of my favorite guys in the whole entire world, just incredible, and fellow speaker. And he was in town, and we went and got a chance to have some coffee in person. It was awesome. Anyway, next week, same time, same bad time, same bad channel, episode 236, November 5th. Make sure you vote. From Tragedy to Triumph with Ann Moss Rogers. It's going to be a great show. She's got a crazy, amazing story. You don't want to miss it. And if you want to learn about some of the next episodes, I do, as Rob said, I recommend you bookmark it every Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST, depending upon your time zone, Central, 12, Pacific Coast time, 10 a.m. But make sure you bookmark it and go to the masterconnector.show and learn about and watch, check out some of the up and coming shows. I don't think you want to miss any, in my opinion. But listen, back in the day, we used to, the only way you could see a show, it was on, network TV, and you had to watch the show. Otherwise you missed it. I know we have restreaming, and you can restream, but there's nothing like being on with us live here. So anyway, make sure. And if you're interested, like Mr. Russ Hedge, who we're blessed to have him as our sponsor of this episode, if you want to learn more about that, also find out masterconnector.show, and you can also find out what it takes to be a speaker on the show. So anyway, I'm gonna close out with a quick story. Damon John, right? Grew up in Queens, New York, raised by a single mother and working multiple jobs to help support his family. He started with just $40 and sewing hats in his living room. He built FUBU, right, which stands for, many of you probably know, for us, by us, into a $6 billion global fashion brand that reshaped urban culture. His journey from hustling to on the street to becoming the Shark Tank investor proves that perseverance, creativity, and belief in your vision, like Larry was talking about, can turn struggle into success. Folks, let's continue to have that vision, take massive action as we work towards that vision and our goals, and be a shining example of success so we can ultimately be a beacon of light. God bless. We'll see you next week. And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives